everyone. Welcome back to the Wrestling Prep Podcast. We're here with Coach Carolyn Wester. Drew Morgan's here with us, and Coach Cornell Robinson joins us again for another conversation. I know, Carolyn, you wanted to talk a little bit. The high school season is in full swing at this point. We're getting close to Christmas break, so we're almost halfway there. But you wanted to talk a little bit about the high school season and sort of the landscape of high school wrestling. So give
For
us some of your
sure.
thoughts, and we'll talk about it.
Yeah, for sure. This year, there seems to be more than ever a them versus us motivational attitude in the high school landscape. And we've seen so many people move from one school to another, and just this vicious commentary on forums. And it seems there's just not a lot of commentary about how education and where these athletes are going in their future need to be on whether or not they're on the team that, wins Super 32 or, all the other tournaments that people are talking about. And I'm just wondering, why this has come about now. And we wanted to talk a little bit about that today and how can we get the focus back on getting a great education and being competitive both academically and in wrestling or whatever sport when they get to college.
Yeah, and it
What do
seems
you-
like in a sport like ours, there are opportunities, I think, post college, but it's not like basketball or football, where everyone's going to have their last match at some point. For most people, it's in high school. Others go on to college, and depending on which level they wrestle at in college. But that's usually the end of the road for almost anyone who's not on the Olympic ladder. And so yeah, it seems like wrestling as a tool to better oneself and,
Yeah,
and educate oneself seems like a better focus than just winning matches.
but we've seen such an upsurge of startup schools, and they say, oh, we've got all these great wrestlers together and we could win this, or we could win Powerade, or we could win Walsh Jesuit, or whatever tournament it is. But unfortunately, we have no understanding if those startup schools have the academic backbone to have these athletes go on to major academic schools like UNC, University of Virginia, much less an Ivy League school, University of Illinois, Stanford. You have to have a good academic background. And I don't know if this is really, taking people, athletes to this opportunity. And I hope we see more of an upsurge of schools that are already established bringing wrestling their um, into their programs. And we have some places that are starting up, like IMG in Florida, but it's my
Mhm.
understanding that they're not even getting in the prep league, that they've been blocked for getting in the National Prep League. So they'll have to compete in PNL. Is that correct, Cornell?
I don't know if they're blocked yet. I mean, I know they're probably going to apply, but I know it's not, you have to be about academics to get into the prep nationals. That's what they want. They want your school there. And I know IMG, I think they only go to school from like 7 to 11. They have like different schedules to work around their sports. So I don't think the prep board looks good. They don't like that type of stuff. So, they want, your Blair type schools and Green Farms Academy where the emphasis is on academics and getting kids to Ivy League. So it'll be interesting if they do, but if not, I guess, IMG, it just have to be like a Valiant Prep.
Yeah, and go where they can. Well, I think Lake Highland Prep, has great academics and they're in the prep league, but I've heard of lots of schools having a hard time being accepted. And I guess what it makes me wonder is it's amazing to me how many people transfer back and forth every year based on what's going to be going on in wrestling without a
Yeah.
lot of consideration for academics. And what is that? I mean, when we were in California, Drew remembers, I was constantly amazed at the length that coaches would go to try to win their leagues. A perfect example was we had a coach Sanchez at Delaware High School who falsely took the identity of Jack Ramalia's dad and then wrote an email to the superintendent of, you remember this, Drew?
Yeah.
I wrote an email to the superintendent of schools saying that, well, we're gonna move Jack to Folsom to try to get better wrestling, but now it's so great that you allowed Carolyn Wester to get paid $8,000 a month to have Israel Saavedra live and go to Granite Bay. So now he has a workout partner, and whoever the main guy was thought it was incredulous and turned it over to the athletic director at Granite Bay, who called me, and I said, "There's no way Mr. Ramalya wrote that, and I'm not getting a penny." So it ended up being prosecuted by the sheriff, and they had to get a warrant and get the IP address, and it turned out it traced all the way back to the school. And the principal or assistant principal called me to apologize to me, and the reporters. I mean, I have all the documentation, and he did get let go or resign from the school. And then the district went ahead and made him coach of the year. But he did all of it because he wanted to win the local districts. And then we had another coach out of Santiago High School in Corona. What was his name? Phil San Angelo. Was that right? Yeah, Phil San Angelo. He, yeah, as you know, Drew knows, for years and years, I have those Super 32 early entry. And I always ran the Super 32 early entry to California till I turned it over to Daniel to do. But I would go from the north to the south to the middle, and I went south to Santiago High School. And he said, "Yes, we'll do it." And I said, "Let's go. I'll need a receipt for everything." And at the end, he said I owed him $5,000 the for the gym and for the janitorial. Well, there was no janitorial. I think Jesse Vasquez's dad was emptying the trash cans. And but it turned out when I said to him, I'm not going to write you a check without a receipt, proof that this is what the Corona School District is charging. He couldn't produce one because, in fact, he had never even gone to the school district and asked. He had us have the whole tournament with no janitorial, completely on the sly. And then I had to write I don't know who it was, the supervisors of the schools and he was, the next year he wasn't, I don't know what happened, but the next year he wasn't the coach anymore. But he went on a huge smear campaign and was telling the Kims, Joshua Kim's dad, and all these people, and at Walsh Jesuit apparently, that I was trying to steal money, and that's why he couldn't pay for the students to travel and the parents to travel to these tournaments. But in actuality, he just thought I was an easy mark. And I mean, what is that? Why would you jeopardize your job, your reputation, and those kinds of things to do that? I don't understand.
It's crazy. And that's our Cornell. I'd like to kind of just get your perspective on it. I mean, I've been out of wrestling for a little over a year and a half now. So, but I mean, you've been at the top tier of high school since what? Since I was in high school. We're going like 10 plus years. Um, and I'm sure you've kind of been seeing that shift over time. I mean, obviously everyone's always been doing crazy stuff in sport, but I'm curious if you think it's a turnover from, like Bryce was saying, those other sports, football, basketball, that's bleeding into wrestling, or if that's just a totally unique thing to wrestling.
Yeah,
And
no.
what's your experience been?
Yeah, it's I mean, I had a lot of different experiences. Not like that one that you just talked about. I think I think one thing with coaching, uh even though we live in a small world of wrestling, people want to be known, right? Even I want to be known, but I want to be known for, not saying I'm perfect by no means, but I know I wanted to be known for being a good coach. That was what I really wanted to be known for. Of course, you try to treat people right too, but I know like my last experience, uh, the coaches, when I took over Sim, the coaches had been there, and so they really felt they built it up. So they really thought I was reaping off of their benefits. So with that, they were always trying to destroy me or destroy something that supposedly they built. They didn't want me to live off their success. So I definitely can understand how easily people try to end it. But like, what about the kids who were there? Like, you don't want the program to be good? Nope, just don't want me to have success while we're there and take credit for what's going on.
Yeah, it'd be interesting if you wanted to walk through, that whole what happened. I saw recently Willie Saylor talking, and he seemed to have some
Oh yeah.
timeline and information wrong. And in fact, I remember my first indication that there was a concerted effort to challenge you was when
Yeah.
Mikey Trujillo went with me to Bergen Catholic. Was doing some clinics at Bergen Catholic. And when I got up there, Mikey had mentioned that he wanted to go potentially to Bergen. I said, no, you need to go to SIM. And I drove him right to SIM and met with Ravelli because he's in admissions and those things there in the office. He's always been really helpful. And I said, oh, how's Cornell doing? And his answer was such that indicated to me immediately that they did not recognize the athletic achievement and the number of schools the kids were getting into under Cornell's leadership. I mean, all the firsts that happened for Sam while he was there, and he was telling me that, you know, making this kind of face with his head and stuff. And I just said, you know what? I don't want to hear anything about Cornell Robinson.
Yeah,
I've
and
known him a long time.
yeah, that's some of the first things they did, especially my first year I was there. They would, like, if anything were to go wrong, they would run into the president's office telling them like, "Oh, he's doing this, he's doing that, he can't be found here." So it's funny they had this reputation going around that I was lazy, but I probably work. I had no social life up there, so I was probably working the hardest I ever worked. So it was just a rumor mill to try to make me look bad. And one thing that really stands out now that I'm gone, anytime that we lost or something came up a little short, not that we lost very much, but I noticed like Will Weber throw a temper tantrum and just make it explode into something. I'm like, it can't be this bad. Like it's just a loss, right? Like, but now looking back, it was all a ploy to make it seem like the wheels are falling off, the program's about to be dead. We got to get rid of this guy as quick as we can. And of course, the first ones to spot it out was Damon O'Farrell and Jaden O'Farrell's. They spotted it out right away. They ended up leaving, going to Bishop McCourt. Then Jack Selfies followed, and then with Seamus Regan, what Willie Saylor was talking about, Seamus Regan was. This is an interesting story here. So he was cutting weight, trying to get ready for prep states. We were getting ready for that, and he just so happened he got sick. Now Seamus he's a squirrely kid. He's wasn't mature, but great kid. But he definitely didn't know how to cut weight right. Right. I mean, some kids can do it. You can try to help as much as you. People say, "Oh, you got to help them out." You can help as much as you want, but if you're not seeing what they're eating or drinking, it don't matter. Right. That's just a discipline thing, and kind of hard to do. But he usually like no matter what, he has never failed me. Like he's always made it at the end. But this time he got so sick, and he was taking medicine. Every time he worked out, he just started coughing, so he couldn't breathe, and he got super sick. And so I wake up in the morning. His dad says he's losing weight. I go over there in the morning, trying to make him cut down. And this is the last day. I can't change the name of the entries to the tournament. And so we do that, and of course, finally, his dad wants me to keep cutting weight, and I'm like, nah, he's done. He just needs to go rest up, right? So now we have to go into the tournament without a 20-pounder, 26, whatever he was wrestling, and so with that, we go through the tournament. We still win the tournament, mind you, without him in it. We win the tournament, and basically the dad was like, hey, Weber called me up. I wonder what he want, and me, I'm thinking, oh, he probably just wanted to talk to you about Seamus, yada yada yada. So turns out when Weber, the coach, he's the head coach now at SM, when he called, he was telling him, hey, are you a Cornell guy? And like, are you on his side or our side? And basically, the coaches were all trying to get the parents and kids united against me. And since I was supposedly tearing the program down, I was this, I was that. And so, yeah, but Seamus Regan's dad was the only one who called it out, even though O'Farrell them told me, right? They said, yeah, you got to watch yourself, but nobody came with the facts and receipts. So, I mean, yeah, you warned me, of course, yeah, but this one was like in your face, right? So you see it for yourself,
Definitely.
and
Because there's a video of it.
Yeah, and so it was clear as day, and that happened, and it just so happened too, with that situation with Seamus, another kid could have been in that position. If I'd known Seamus was going to be that sick, I could have slid another kid in. So Weber was actually texting that kid's dad saying, "Hey, your kid got screwed. Cornell could have did this. He should have put your kid in." So now he got this parent riled up, and he's writing letters to the administration and all this. And the administration knew all this, and so, but yeah, that's a crazy story. Like, and I'm pretty sure that probably happens, I bet, in college more often than what people think. That's why they have to really watch who they bring in college coaching. Everybody wants that spot, and hey, now they have the spot. I don't know. Let's see if you can do as good as I did.
Yeah, time will definitely tell that story. And I think what's so hard about that was, I don't know why. I'm friends with Dr. Reagan, but I never asked why they decided to leave. But he literally took Seamus out immediately after that
Uh,
conversation.
oh yeah, because actually we were at we he at prep states he still was kind of debating, but he took some stuff out. Then we're at prep nationals, and then I think Weber said if he transfers somewhere, we're going to make sure he's ineligible. And I think a Melvin prep parent heard it, and they told Seamus's dad, and that's when he was like, "All right, I'm done. I'm out of here." That was the final straw.
Yeah,
So
well, and then I think now they're in this situation where Seamus is not eligible,
right.
right? And they'll probably have to make a decision, I guess, if they want him to wrestle this year.
Yeah, it's really a shame too, because me and Seamus had a real good relationship. I can know when I'm really getting in a kid's head and I can understand him. He was going to have a lot of success with me, and so he's going to have to be successful without me. Also, not saying, but I know we had a good coaching and wrestler relationship. I was really starting to understand how he thinks.
Well, I think I observed that too. That was the case, and that Seamus had indicated that his highest comfort level was with you. Because Seamus, as you know, Seamus and I communicate. So, and I communicate with his dad. So he had indicated, that that was the case. I think what was interesting to me was, had Seamus left before the NCAA tournament last year?
Yeah. Seamus
Yeah.
had left in February. He was out, and
So
yeah,
when we were in Philly, I went up to help Daniel coach. Daniel was doing an MMA seminar, and I went over to the SEM reception, and it was me and Tina Lillard and Chris Crawford and
yeah,
Davis and Dom was there, and the current president of the school, is that what he's
yeah,
called?
yeah.
Yeah,
President, head of school.
they one of the women in the administration asked me if I would meet him, and I said to him straight up, I said have had a lot of kids go to SEM. I don't think the current SEM coaches realize that the amount of parents that I actually speak to or who seek my advice. But I said to him, I send kids there because of Cornell. He's had incredible success. We've had these world team members. All these kids have been optimized, right? Optimized. Joe Seeley, came up there. He's a brilliant kid. His academics took off. He made didn't he make a world team?
Yeah, he's a world champ. Yep. He's
World
17 world
champ.
champ. Yep.
And then I never get these things straight. And
That's all right.
now he's thriving at Penn State, correct? Academically
Yes. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
and athletically. I mean, what a great story. If he'd stayed in North Carolina, or something for high school, who knows? It's hard when you come from some of these other states to get in these best schools. But the president said to me at that day, I'm a Cornell Robinson person. And then it was just a few days later, the Cornell reached me and said, I think some situations are occurring. And I said, okay, let's get legal representation.
Yeah. No, that was definitely smartest conversation I had. So so I can never repay you for that, girl. That was just a great, just being a great friend to me is definitely in the time of need. So uh yeah,
Well, I think I would have done it for anyone, but that I could.
mm,
But I will tell you that I've been an observer of Wyoming SEM in these private schools for a long time, starting with Mason Manville. and Max Horvat going to Blair. And then, actually, I wrote PJ Cleese as recommendations to both Sim and to Blair. So, PJ left, Mason left, Mason went from Blair to Sim, Carson went to Sim. Carson, wasn't a good fit because of some things with Carson at the time and some other stuff, I think, too. But I've been an observer for a long time, and there was never the same athletic and academic success than in the time that you were there. And there were so many kids who would, prior to you being there, they would be there for a little bit and then they would leave. I mean, we had Timmy Levine go there. He chose to leave after 1 year. Alfonso Martinez was there. I don't think it turned out to be a good fit for him. Clayton Marabito was there, all prior to you. And then when you got there, the academic and the athletic success, just increased. And then to, be in this situation where not only were you potentially targeted, but the narrative that came out of that was not factual. And I think that has had, repercussions on Cornell in a lot of ways, and just in other coaches thinking, do I ever want to put myself out there to try to help some of these organizations and institutions if I'm going to be treated like this? They have nobody on staff there that's had Cornell's international. How many world teams have you coached for USA Wrestling?
10 to 12 now. So.
I was going to say as many since I've been in high school.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, they're not going to have this, but what do other coaches feel when they see this? I mean, the whole thing they tell people is that he didn't contact somebody in the administration quickly enough, and then for a potential situation on the girls' team of a coach, allegedly inappropriately touching another athlete. But in actuality, the coach who first heard that should have been the one to turn it into Safe Sport and Child Protective Services according to PA and Safe Sport rules. And so they made it into this whole thing that it wasn't, without any documentation, claimed that Cornell had a case against him in Safe Sport. And I have a copy of the documentation from Safe Sport saying Cornell was never investigated, but none of those things occurred. And to me, that's reminiscent of the Del Oro coach writing all this stuff, taking a parent's identity, getting a fake Gmail account, making fake emails with their address. Drew knows this family, with their address, and then saying things about me and other people, and then trying to make it sound like, all to do something that man felt he needed to achieve. And that's what I think is so disheartening, is because, gosh, I just want every coach to be honorable. I would have to say, if I had been Dr. Reagan, or of course, I'm friends with Brian and Jack Silfies. I think I would not want my kid exposed to somebody who was doing those kinds of things internally for some reason I couldn't understand. I mean, if I remember correctly, part of the conversation was, we need to be really organized to get rid of a coach who is of color and has won a national champion, current national champion. Am I saying that accurately?
Yeah. That's what was said to Dr. Regan or whatever. Just, we need to be. It's hard to get him out of here because he's a person of color and won so much. And all right, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. I mean,
yes.
That's the point.
I mean, that's that's the historic proof. So I guess my thing is, I just want all these kids and coaches to want to do it for the right reasons and really
Yeah.
spend some time, reflecting and being, I don't know.
Uh, I think in that situation, being there, I think that's kind of all they had to those coaches. I mean, they're from that town, you know, they they have to be a part of it, even though it's built up before they even got there. Also,
Oh, sure.
uh, but they got in. We made it. Like we're Sim and we're the coaches and the top dog in the area. Where two, I see that I wanted Sim to be internationally known, which it is, right, for the most part, because they have so many kids on world teams, but I wanted to make sure we got kids from Korea, Japan, wherever, and we can help them get on their world teams. And, that was looked at as a bad thing. They actually wrote that up saying like, uh, he traveled to Korea to help one of the kids make a world team in the middle of the season. Basically, we had like an off week before the prep states. So I left like on a Wednesday and came back on a Sunday. So it was like one trip to Korea, coach them and come right back. You know how many college coaches across the country go with their RTC guys
Yeah,
but they
yeah.
just couldn't see the vision. They was just worried about winning Powerade. Like,
Well, and if they are as competent have, as they've said they are, couldn't they have handled the coaching while you were in Korea?
well, I trusted them, right? I guess we had to
Well,
say trust.
that
Yeah.
was what was so interesting about is that Cornell not for 1 minute thought, um, he didn't, he didn't hear everyone when they tried to say to him, this is what's going on.
And
Because
I was at,
he was so good about wanting to talk about their good qualities. I think he
yeah.
got them more pay,
Oh
right?
yeah, yeah.
Got
Because
them more pay.
the last coach actually took pay where I fought to go get him paid double of what the other coach did. So not only that, I got him double of what the other coach took from him. And and be honest with you, as far as just coaching wise, they were like the best staff I've had as coach. I usually had to do everything, and at least I know I could leave and they could still have the room running.
Right.
So yeah, and but it was just I guess they didn't like how I looked and behave, and I just know one thing too. They were like, well, the kids don't all sit at matches and clap for each other. I'm like, yeah, because we're not there to be fans. We're here to focus on our individual selves. If everybody does their individual job and take care of themselves individually as a team, we're going to succeed in the end, right? So, and not saying that clapping and cheerleading for each other is bad, but sometimes you get caught up in emotions and other people's match, it can drain you. So,
Oh, for sure. Well, I'm sure the list can go on and on, but Bryce, do you see this out of Arizona?
Yeah, especially we have an interesting situation high school wise where the borders are open. Basically, if you can get your kid to a school, they can go anywhere. So once they get to ninth
wow.
grade, they kind of lock them down a little bit. And so there's some powerhouses. It's interesting to go through the youth scene here and look at the how anyone who's has a little bit of success in seventh and eighth grade, they start getting numbers of high school coaches
Right.
around that are sort of building their teams. And similarly, it seems like a lot of coaches are more concerned about how they're perceived and their own ego and accomplishments than the focus comes off of the kids and they're just accumulating talent rather than developing kids through their program. Um, but yeah, it is sad when adults in the situation, as all of these situations sound like it's there's adults in the situation that are more concerned about
Always.
how they're perceived and their own they get their own self-worth out of their accomplishments of the
Yeah.
kids. The kids are almost an afterthought in that situation.
Yeah.
And it sounds like Cornell, if you're focused on the kids, a lot of these things are happening behind the scenes and you're not even aware
Oh,
of it because we're worried about the kids and their academic and wrestling success and
yeah. I would say one thing that, sorry, Bryce, I didn't mean to cut you off, but
no,
just when
I
you said that, when you're focusing on the kids, and that was one thing I was trying to tell them, like, hey, we're servants. When you're coaching,
right.
you're a servant, and
Yep.
and I'm
Yep.
here to serve, and I'm gonna serve the kids as much as possible. And when Carolyn was saying like you were warned, and I was like, I am, but I didn't think it'd keep going to this level. 'Cause I'm like, how can they be so mad? We're winning everything, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, how can you still be so mad? But I think sometimes too, people don't realize they could think that they were winning more before, and you might have won stuff that didn't matter as much before, but bigger stuff for the most part we're winning. You get lost because it's not as easy as some people make it look, and
So,
you take it for granted.
Well, and
well,
that's where
that,
I'm wondering, just to kind of like Bryce was doing, kind of circle back to our whole discussion at the beginning is where do you think that, and this is open to anyone, I guess, really come from where people, especially coaches now, are kind of losing sight of that, the big picture. I think especially in wrestling, like, I mean, obviously there is professional, like there's the Olympic level, world level. Cornell, Carolyn, you're
Yeah.
very well versed in that. But I mean, that's the 0.0001%, if that,
Yeah.
there is life after wrestling. And I mean, that's to your point, Cornell, like why we're trying to serve the kid. I mean, I'm the perfect embodiment of that, just having done it recently, making the transition to life and using wrestling as a vehicle at the end of the day. I'm curious, like where that has kind of lost its way. Is
well, I think a lot of it has to do with sort of the they versus us mentality of this conditioned mindset, the group mindset that seems to be more pervasive. Never in my many years on the earth in front row seat to national politics, seeing such a visceral disembowelment of people as we see now. And even so much so where people are, they post, they say, if you like this person, you can't be my friend. If you do this, you can't be this. And I think that kids have got caught up and families have got caught up in this push, how they're perceived, what social media says, what do people think about them, when in actuality, we all know it just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And I think we've got people who are looking for a way to feel that about themselves. That is why one main reason so drawn to Maurice Worthy as a coach and a father of upcoming three upcoming wrestlers, his boys, who it does not buy into any of that. And I think that's what a lot of that is this they versus us, and then I mean, I'm grateful to have Flow Arena and be able to look at brackets and read the collegiate scores. But when every post is, breaking news, so and so beat so and so, breaking news, this versus that, breaking news. But if you get a group of us together, if you get me and Cornell and Lee Pritz and Nate Engel, KJ, all these guys, Mr. Carr Sr., you get everybody together. We've all seen the whole cycle of wins, losses, heartbreak in coaching, we've all experienced it. So we all see that. And a lot of people come into the sport and out of the sport in the frame of time that their kids are athletes. And they get caught up in that and they want that time and that money investment to matter, even though it may just be you're going to pay the same amount of money if your kid wins or loses. Maybe you just end up with an adult child who trusts you because you invested in them, whether or not they produced results that made you feel better about your spend. And then when they actually need you, or heaven forbid, you need your child, they're going to be there for you. And I just think a lot of that is gone. I mean, we even see it in pro football, or, college football. I mean, I don't even know if I'd want to move if I was a college coach
Hey,
from wherever, because, who
college,
knows how long you're going to be there,
yeah,
whatever. And it changes so rapidly. But in
yeah.
wrestling, there's no money involved. So
It's
I don't
getting
know.
there though.
What do you all think of that? Like, do
It's
you all feel that or see that?
well, it's back to college football. Sorry, I hope I ain't cut anybody off. Back to college football and wrestling, like the money's starting to be there only at certain schools, and football is like wherever. So it's gonna be interesting how some of these mid-major colleges keep around, and then as far as wrestling, your small schools, as far as Campbell or Little Rock, these guys are gonna keep getting plucked off by bigger colleges. So it's going to be interesting to see how this landscapes end up playing out here in 4 or 5 years.
No, that's for sure. And it's a crazy landscape. Things are changing even in my time. I've kind of seen it, but that's where I think, kind of to your point, Cornell, it's all at the end of the day about the kid. And I think the way you summed it at the beginning, like, yes, you obviously, I think everyone has an ego to an extent, wants to be known, but it's what do you want to be known for? Like, do you want to be known as the coach that's taking kids to the next level as athletes, but also as people? And I think that's missing a lot in the sport, which is super unfortunate. I feel like wrestling is the ethos of wrestling is not
Yeah,
that way.
yeah,
Really, when you think about it, kind of to your point, Cornell, like focus on yourself. You do the right thing, it's going to help the team. Like that's really the ethos of an individual sport. It's unfortunate to see. I mean, you guys are more seeing it on the day to day, but I've seen it definitely at the macro level.
yeah. Wrestling just it's weird like that to coach it, and the experiences you go, it almost run you out the sport, but it's kind of like if you love it, and some people are just meant to serve and born to do it, so they just enjoy it, but we definitely need a break.
Yeah, that's
I don't blame
interesting.
you.
As Carolyn was saying, that you definitely develop perspective, I think, throughout your career, and both of you have been doing this for such a long time, and
You
I've
too.
been coaching for almost 20 years now too. But um, yeah, it seems like early on in your career, you kind of hang on every win and loss, and you are more like the social media landscape, where every single kid's win and loss is either amazing or a tragedy. But then the more that you coach, the more you realize that this is more about the trajectory of the kid over the course of their career and over the course of their life. And individual match results are much less important than
Yeah,
their growth long term. And sometimes, bad results in a match actually enhance their growth long term if you can use that to, further
yeah,
their growth and things like that. But there's a perspective I think that comes from coaching for a long time. And as Carolyn said, you can sit around with some of those guys that have been doing this for a long time, and they aren't going to be emotionally
yeah.
charged over every single win and loss that a kid has over the course of their career, and they're going to think more about development as opposed to individual results on the
And
day.
I, well, and yes, and I just think that it damages them academically.
Yeah.
I totally, when people say, oh, this is my kid in wrestling. I started them in wrestling. They can't go to any other club. Well, that's crazy. If somebody feels like, I learned this from Javier Mendez. He's like, if somebody wants to go somewhere else, I support them and say, let's do it. Whatever you want to do is what you should do, and I'm going to support you. You're just part of a stack in someone's career. And I get it when a group of people get together and say, I want to start a school. We want this, or we want it to be taught this, or we want it Iowa style, or whatever the latest thing is they're fixed on. But what they're not thinking about is the academic result. And every time they jump, when their emotions go up, they want it to be about them. They want to prove that they're the best coach, and they jump and pull kids and start something, and they're like, we're just going to do it. They're just going to be homeschooled. And then they try to transfer someplace good. They haven't been presented with enough knowledge to be able to transfer, much less go to a great academic school. And the smaller the rosters are going to become, the more the academics are going to matter, even at schools that you could have, been the lower end or at the floor of the requirements to get in, I think.
I'm texting something here, but I might as well say it now. Have you guys heard of Bishop Sycamore?
Yeah, that's the football. Yeah.
Yeah. So they did the documentary on that. And I mean, that was basically what you said. He started a charter school, but it was all false. And he had his kids take out PPP loans. He said they were staying at they had dorms, they stayed in a hotel. Like he would stay there for a month or 3 months, and they'll want the bill. He'll like write them a fake check and then a bounce check, and then move to a different hotel. He would call Walmart, order a whole bunch of like roasted chicken. He wouldn't go pick it up, until late because he knew by the time they're ready to throw it away, he can get it for cheaper and feed it to the kids. But it's so sad. All these kids who eventually got scholarships because they went here, none of the schools will recognize none of their academics.
Oh,
So they end up losing their scholarships. I mean, try to get it. They couldn't even barely get into junior college. It was like he even had kids who went to junior college playing on his team, like on the high school team. Like it's crazy, but
all for himself. Yeah. Like,
yeah, that story is crazy. But back to what you said about academics. I mean, one thing like your Bishop McCord, what they started, and I think people would recognize. It might have been somebody else who's doing it, but people recognize for them is now everybody can go to school online up there. So now you get to work out 2 to 3 times a day. You don't have to go sit in the classroom all day. You're getting an athletic advantage because you're getting to be with your coaches, you're getting to travel, but you don't have to sit in the classroom. I mean, it's basically being homeschooled, but you can go to your school once or twice, or however they want it. So I think that changed here in Missouri. Now you can be homeschooled and play a sport for your school you live in, for the zone you live in. So it's changing fast.
You can't do that in Northern Virginia. The public schools here are so highly ranked, but they will not allow, people to homeschool and then go on
Mm,
and do sports.
really. And they
No,
just
I think it depends on the tax base of the area.
yeah.
If we have a really high tax base in Northern Virginia because of federal employees and,
Yeah.
military, defense contractors, and National Institute of Health. So the schools here are exceptional, exceptional. And, I know everybody says that everywhere, but it's proven exceptional. The all the numbers show it. But I think that makes it difficult too, because you just don't know if kids are going to be able to handle the coursework. And it's not that the kids aren't bright, they just haven't been presented with the materials, no exposure to the information that's supposed to be the base for the courses they're taking later,
Right.
right? And so if they don't have that, then it just makes it so hard. I will say, I recently was at Lake Highland Preps at the Spartan RTC in late August, early September, and I got to spend some time with Mike Palazzo, and I think he is one of top 2% of coaches I've ever heard explain and really have an understanding of all the different levels of his athletes and what would be the best outcome for them in terms of who they're going to be as a person or a parent or somebody in our world, in our community, and I really had never got to spend any time with Mike, and I was extremely impressed and so wish they had dorms there, because that would be an ideal answer. A book just came out by Che Vidal, who he's been working on this for a very long time. He's an Venezuelan Olympic soccer player, and he has been a part of FIFA organization and is really well known around the world. And he just came out with a book talking about the ethos of sports and competition, and how competition has not is shifted to, sort of this dynamic that's damaging instead of what competition is supposed to be, which it makes everybody evolve and become better athletes and better people and better able to govern and be governed in society. It's an exceptional book. I just posted it today on my story. I'll send you the link, Bryce, so we could
Yeah,
put
yeah.
it in here. But Che is an incredible author and think leader in sports.
That's
Oh, that
awesome.
sounds interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I met him in Boston. He went to Boston University and played for Boston University when I lived in Boston. So we've known each other a long time.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Something else you said too, Bryce, like, and even you, Coach Carolyn, you said like we seen the wins and losses and stuff like that. Sorry, it popped in my head too. I just remember like if at Sim, if we lost something, it was like this big dramatic thing. I'm like, it can't be this dramatic. Like I'm gonna have something, but now I mean now I keep looking back, like now it makes sense they were making it seem like it was worse than what it was, right? I'm like,
Mhm.
this can't be this dramatic. Like, we lost to Bishop McCourt last year, and we had like three of our guys were out, and we were coming back from Christmas break, and I had to throw kids in who were on Christmas break, and they had to wrestle, and we lost like four matches by like 1 point. And I'm like, oh, that's not bad. Like, hey, I
for
mean,
the
but
circumstances.
I'm
Well,
like,
what is what are considered the big markers? Fargo, Super 32,
yeah,
Welsh Jesuit Ironman.
well, definitely watch Judge Iron Man.
So
World
how is that compared? World teams trials?
World
How is
Team
that
Trials.
compared under new leadership as to when you were
Uh,
there?
but I think they only had one Fargo All-American, and I think we had my last summer we had nine, no, 10, I think. 10 Fargo All-Americans. Today had one
Wow.
this year. And then even at I think Ironman, we took fourth or third. And I just remember it was like a bad day, but we had two champs, I think maybe four All-Americans. But I was like, it's not bad, bro. We took fourth. Of course, once you win it one year, of course you think but I've been around enough to know it's like this, right? So,
Right, that's what I'm
and
saying.
and I think
How did
and
they
he,
do this year?
uh I'm gonna say one more thing. Even that day, I think we had another returning champ out too. I think Bazaga was out. Yeah, I think they only had one placer at Ironman this year. So
Hmm.
so just it's the same kid I think who placed at Fargo, just to show you like they could say, well, maybe we're a young team, we're this. I mean, when I first took over, it was a real good team. I had to keep it together with all the craziness. Then all these people left, and supposedly we were a real bad team, and we still had Ironman champs, still placed top three. Like it still went on, all right. And but now all of a sudden, they just had one.
Well,
Uh,
yeah, but a young team. I mean, you were helping to recruit into this group, right?
Right, right.
Okay.
Yeah. I've recruited, and it
Yeah,
was like, I mean,
you
I
and
don't think they have
Lisa.
no freshmen. They don't. I don't think this group. I don't. For sure, I'm pretty sure there's no freshmen starting. It's all juniors and seniors and sophomores. So, I mean, I guess, I guess it's something to
Yeah,
go. But it's
I'm
fun.
just trying to get perspective.
Yeah. No, but it's funny. Now maybe maybe the standard's not as high. I guess now.
Yeah, I don't
You,
know.
you ever seen
I'm not on any message boards or anything.
no?
I don't, I don't read this. I don't read the stuff. What happens is I
Yeah.
go to a tournament or someone will call me
Yeah.
and just say, we'll just say, did you see this? Did you read this? And I'm like, no, I don't read those. Or I'm
You,
not
you
on
know,
those.
I would say I felt like you ever seen Remember the Titans?
Yeah.
Denzel Washington. He had to be perfect to keep the job and being that's what it felt like. I had to stay perfect. All right, one slip up and they were on it.
But there really wasn't a slip up.
No, it wasn't. It was like I had to stay perfect, but I mean, at least Denzel, at least everybody was working still with him. Like now that I know these guys were all looking to wait to go complain. I mean, I knew they were before, but I thought we got moved past it. I bet that's why I thought we moved past it, but we're still in it. So
Well, I think everybody, I'm sure Drew in his career and Bryce in his career, I'm sure Drew, I mean, he went through there's just a podcast and a bunch of stuff about Drew's experience trying to get to without being deemed, even after the athletic director told him at Cal Poly he could. I mean, Drew's been through the political mire too.
Always fun. Always a good time. A little
how long?
excitement, a little juice. Maybe not to the level of
Yeah, but
Cornell, but
it
yeah,
was
at the
important to
time.
you. It was
No,
important.
very, and yeah, just I don't know. Just
How long
loses
were you
sight
at
of
Cal
what's
Poly, Drew?
I was only there for a year, 2015, 16, well, just my freshman year, and then we had a coaching staff change. And it was before the portal whole system. So you had to
Yeah.
get the AD to sign off and super long story short, but he just said in a group team meeting, hey, anyone who wants to transfer, you can just come talk to me, whatever. The time didn't think I was going to transfer. Turns out I wanted to at least explore my options, going to talk to him, and he just 180'd on me. Like you're leaving this good degree. I never said that, blah, blah, blah. All that, and just like 8 a.m. in the morning, blindsiding me. Like, what the hell? And, yeah. So,
Really?
long story short, got out of there, got with over with Colette, and rest is history.
Awesome.
But
Good,
yeah,
good history.
good history for sure. Very happy about
Hey,
it.
you wouldn't have that problem these days. Everybody just transferred.
That's
Jump
what
in
I'm
the
saying.
portal.
I'm like, I just was like 2 years too early. It was ridiculous. And then even now it's the true Wild West. But
Hey,
I
how
think,
many wrestling schools, Division One anyway, I guess, are in California still?
oh geez,
It's
Cal
just
Poly Stanford, Cal Bap.
4. Yeah, with Cal Bap, I think it's
Oh,
4.
and Bakersfield,
Yeah,
4.
yeah.
4.
Bakersfield,
They tried
Poly,
to get rid of
Stanford.
Bakersfield a few times,
Right.
and Cal Baptist came on.
Is
Yeah,
that where
the
Ferrari
4.
went? Bakersfield? Did Ferrari go to Bakersfield? Is that where he was
That was
at?
the one. Yeah,
Yeah.
Bakersfield.
But he's not, where is he now?
Nebraska. Go
Hmm.
Big
Yeah,
Red.
Nebraska.
he went back Big
Well,
Ten.
Is
Rob
his,
Cole tried to get him. He tried to get him in North Carolina, but
right, yeah,
it fell
and they
through.
like, somebody threw a fit, right?
Yeah.
A women's group, or someone
Yeah.
threw a fit. Is his IG Fast Twitch or
Yeah,
Mr.
Mr.
Fast?
Fast
Yeah,
Twitch.
he just
yeah.
followed me the other day. I was like, oh boy, here we
That's
go.
awesome. That's awesome.
It cracks me up. Some of the people sometimes, like, there's crazy people. You two know, because I send them messages of like, this person, I'm like, oh my Lord, makes me laugh. It makes me laugh. Well, what do you think's going to happen, Cornell? Do you think Faith Christian is going to take it all, or
Yeah, I think
what's going to happen in McCourt when the when
oh
the
man.
when the Bassett's go their way in Melvin, and
It's this is a like I said, a change in landscape. And I think Bishop McCourt popped up on the scene. They got in trouble for recruiting also through the PIAA. So going there is always kind of a risk just because of that reason. But yeah, I mean, you think you add Jax Force, I'm hearing he's probably not wrestling this year. Willie Saylor said it, but I don't know if anybody believed him. So he's gonna probably wrestle his last high school event coming soon, and then he'll probably head to Oklahoma State. So that's a big part of their team leaving. And then they have a few injuries. So Bishop McCourt, I think is over. Like this was their year. If all those guys came back, I think they would have had a great year. They might have had a chance to beat Faith Christian. But that's the problem when you make a team full of superstars. They're gonna get picked off early by colleges as well. And that's another thing that I had to fight against them and these Bishop McCourt saying that like your kid gets good. Some people just want to go train at the RTC. You
right,
know,
like
and one thing,
Meyer.
yeah, my Spiro. One thing I give Bo Bassett credit for, though, I mean, if he stays and tries to get another fourth title, I think that's pretty commendable. And well, I guess third because he was suspended their freshman year, but no, he doesn't have to stay in high school wrestling. He can go skip that and go train at Virginia Tech.
Yeah, head to Blacksburg.
Right, right. So I think Faith Christian would be good. I don't know how long though, but it seems, we'll see after the Bachmans leaves, will they stay good? Will they have a dad who's behind the scenes recruiting and trying to get all these people in? So there's always a dad that's doing the work somewhere.
Well,
Armand.
that's what that is when you have these startup schools, right? Was
Right.
Faith Christian a startup school?
No, I want to say the coach, his mom is maybe the principal or something. So, but hey, good story here. Can I tell the story? This is awesome. So, so after Ironman last year, we ended up taking third or whatever it is, 2 champs, 4 placers. Everybody's down in the dumps. Faith Christian beat us. They're ranked number 1, and we have to go to their place to wrestle them. So I hit them kind of with some old school coaching. So they had this. They want to plan this big event. Like, all right, this time we're going to beat Sim, and it's going to be a nice big party. And he was like, "Hey, you guys can get here early. You can train at our place, and we want to do weigh. They want to do weigh-ins like 2 hours before the event. Usually, most weigh-ins are an hour before.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, man, this seemed too fishy. 2 hours before, like, let's just do it in an hour. And so I told him, hey, I negotiated with him to push it back. He didn't really want to push it back as much because they wanted to do they wanted me to get there to do interviews and stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, I don't know. So what I did was it was a college, Molenberg, that's close to there. We went to Molenberg, worked out. I want to say weigh-ins was supposed to be at 5:30. We showed up right at 6. Everybody on weight. So I made them wait all day. Their kids were mad, but really I didn't want my kids in their atmosphere. I wanted to stay out of their atmosphere as long as possible, get there, show up, wrestle, and leave. And so, I mean, they were mad that we showed up so late. I mean, they were mad. And the kids were mad. And I walked in playing The Champ is Here. So it was funny. To me, it's just funny. It was funny games. The kids loved it. The Faith Christian kids didn't love it. And we did. We ended up putting it on them, too. And after they were ranked number one. And that year was just an up and down year. Like, when we had everybody in the lineup, we were the best. If somebody was hurt, we were totally different team. But yeah, no, that Faith Christian, I think, will never like me for that. I was walking out, I asked somebody like, "Hey, how do I get to the front of the building?" This old guy's like, "You just get out of here. We're tired of looking at you. You just get out of here." I mean, like, I was like, "All right, I'm out of here. I'm on my way to the top. I'm out." So I think that's what makes people mad about me. But to me, it's all just fun. Like, I mean, I guess I am being a smart ass, but really I'm just it's funny to me. It's just fun times.
You have some fun along the way, that's for sure.
Yeah.
If you spend any time with Rob Cole, he's the funniest person on the planet.
Oh,
And
yeah, Cole, definitely.
he can be a sassy pants. He makes me laugh.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's for sure. Drew and I've spent an afternoon with Rob one time up at Cornell. Drew was at the RTC at Cornell, but
Yeah.
when he was just thinking about going, Drew and I and Chrissy went up. I think, wasn't that right? You and me and Chrissy?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
and I love Rob yelled at Chrissy and told her to quit watching his phone and stuff. But Rob, I mean, I was laughing so hard. I don't know. It was great fun.
Man. Hey, Bryce, have you I see like RBY is opening a club down there. Is that big news in Arizona or what?
Yeah, I'm not too plugged in. I mean, I kind of keep my head down and coach our kids, but I've certainly seen, yeah, he's got some kids, I see some posts every once in a while about yeah, he just opened it up, and I think they had a big grand opening a couple weeks ago, and it's got some guys training there, so probably a lot of the Sunnyside kids down there, and post Sunnyside kids that are looking for a place to train there.
All right.
It's
I didn't know
hard.
that'd be big news.
Well, it's hard. I think a lot of the amount of work that goes into keeping a club in a building and everything going and covered and insured, and it's a lot of work. And if you hadn't had any experience in business and stuff, I'm always impressed when these people get them up and keep them going, because it's a lot of hard work. That's for sure.
So tell us, Carolyn, how do you get so many likes and views on your social media? Like, did you figure out the algorithm on your own mathematically? Is that what you did?
No, Sophia Viner. Sophia Viner is my person, and she's been able to translate. Well, I mean, I was stunned. I always thought if we posted stuff that people body leveraging and stuff, that would be interesting, but in actuality, it's the ones that do the best are when I'm explaining. And I think based on the number of messages we get every day, there's a lot of people who just want to get better, and they do just a couple of things off what I've put on there, and they're like, my whole game has changed, or my whole performance in wrestling or grappling has changed. And of course, I mean, we know that there are many fighters. You witnessed it yourself. I mean, you used to say to me, "Hey, yeah, you won Chris Crawford this match today. You won Josh Saunders this match today. You won Jacob Saunders this match today," from the stuff I've taught. And I think really what's happening is the world is more open to what I've been.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Did you see Tyler's Lillard last highlight?
Oh yeah, when he over-undered?
Yep. I thought you as soon as he did. I'm like, yep. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Tina wrote on there. I know this is wrestling prep. What was it? Tyler sent it to me. He goes, I over-undered and second story pivoted.
Yeah.
But back to your question, Cornell, I think that is really it. Is that people what we do, like, and I would not be anywhere without Bryce, because Sophia, it's great that we have Sophia and we love her, but Bryce is the one who, holds me up by the back of my pants and make sure we have a website and make sure we have courses. And, when I'm crying or whatever, he just ignores me and just lets me cry. But
It's
it's
just
true.
years of experience,
But I
right,
do.
of coaching, being able to not be so emotional all the time and just kind of watch the trajectory, right? We were talking about that earlier.
Yeah, well, I am emotional, but I think it is, and I'm not going to change. So, but I do think it has to do with the, not the quality of the content in terms of the filming, but the exactness and my ability to break it down. And now it's resonating with people. And when you have Cejudo or Jorge Masvidal or, Paulo Costa or all these people, reposting and posting, and I'm at Islam's fight camp and stuff. What are people going to say? I mean, how much more historic proof does there need to be? And I think that's in the other fact that we just don't answer any negative comments at all.
My favorite clip that you put out, has it been a few years of when you, like I said, we call it where you back arch, you had the kids walk on their hands,
Back
and
then on the floor?
yeah, and UWW took it and said, "This is how we're walking into the new next weekend," or something like that. That's like, it's been like 3 years ago, but that's been my favorite
It was
one.
right. It was during COVID. Cody
Yeah.
Thompson, who was an NCAA D2 finalist from Colorado School of Mines with Grayston,
Yeah.
with DeBlassie and Chrissy, and a kid who's Aiden Squires, who's just wrestles Greco. They're all in that video together.
That was awesome. That's an awesome video there. That's one of my favorite ones.
Well, I appreciate that. I don't know. Sophia's really good. She puts great things together, but now I'm grateful for everybody helping me. Do you think it's funny that so many people watch and like the?
No, because it's. I mean, I think it's the way. I mean, I think every time I go to the gym, like one of the fighters, like, oh, I saw this on social media today, and I'm gonna try it. Like, so I think it's where you do your most learning. And actually, one of our fighters, Tavon, he fought one of Daniel Cormier's guys, and the jiu-jitsu move he did was from social media. It's like, I knew it worked.
Oh, that's right. The one who won, right?
Yeah,
Broke the guy's arm, or
Yeah.
or something like that.
Yeah,
I had
it
a
was
kid.
crazy.
I had a kid come back from Colorado School of Mines who's on the club team there, and he said they were starting practice, and they pulled up on the screen. He goes, "Oh, I just saw this on Instagram, and I'm going to try it." And Todd just did it, and they're like, "How can you do that?" He goes, "Oh, she taught me how to wrestle. She was my
So
coach
funny.
the whole from the very beginning."
And like the class clip you got up with the trail leg shot where you're teaching it to Cejudo, like that's very detailed. Like you can see that and go practice it right away.
Yeah, you were there.
Yeah, yeah.
We were loitering because Cornell and I were just sitting there, and then Angel came up and just said, "I want to ask you some questions." But I love that you see Caleb Larkin extending his foot all the way through in that shot that Flo called out.
I didn't see that clip yet. I think
It's on that one with Henry. If you watch it, the little screen up top,
Okay.
there you see Caleb doing it.
Oh yeah. I did.
It was during Cliff Keen. I'm sure
Okay.
Caleb's thrilled we put it up there. And I don't know if he did that because specifically because but Angel has been teaching heel toe and calf hamstring heel toe for a long time. He just hadn't thought about the placement of the leg. And then when Emery, who weighs
Yeah.
what, 80 pounds, 75, 80 pounds, I don't know, hit him. And he was like, "Oh yeah, we see that."
That's awesome. Oh,
Hmm.
no, it's been crazy world, but yeah, we definitely love some wrestling going on. So with that Ironman tournament wrapping up and all this, we'll see what's going on next.
Yeah. What is next? Parade.
Powerade, Beast of the East, I guess, should be this weekend, I'm thinking. And then Powerade. And that's another thing I think that a lot of these parents wanted to go from Ironman to Beast of the East to Powerade. I'm like, that is crazy. Like, all you need is just two of those. You don't need all three of those. Two of them is enough. I really didn't like the Powerade, to be honest with you.
Well, it's too crowded. It goes too
Yeah.
late. I
And
think like the Cannon McMillan is a small space.
yeah,
Drew and I have both been the Cannon McMillan and
one year
Coach
they had it
Daniel.
like December 26th, like right after Christmas. Like, and if you notice, a lot of your top college teams now, they don't wrestle during that Christmas break. Like they take that break. Uh, whereas
I
before, go ahead.
No. I was just saying, I always wonder with these people who want their kids to compete all the time, if they ever spend any time with Colot, or they ever spent any time with over what I understand from Penn State, from you and others, is that they're always, this is recovery day, this is this day,
Yeah.
this is it's not grind every moment of every day.
Oh, oh, that's what they want to though. They think you got grind. You're
But
gonna
they don't realize that that's not what the best kids in the country do.
no, and that's why the Bishop McCourt thing would be interesting to see. I don't know if I say they grind every day, but it seem like they grind a lot. You know how college is. It's gonna wear your tires quick. You want to have some tread on those tires before you get to college, and if you grind so much, then it's just wrestling's not no science to it, but it's still hard to figure out like how these kids have good college careers and be healthy.
For sure. For sure. Well, I'm so glad that we were able to get Drew and you on here
Yeah.
in the same night.
Oh, it was awesome. I
We
appreciate
love
you
it.
inviting me on. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great catching up with everybody. All
For
right, if
sure.
check out if you're one of the few that haven't seen Carolyn's Instagram, then go on and check it out. I know you've got the courses up on the website, as well as already
And
getting lots of interest in summer camp. Yep.
what percent discount is there right now?
There's
Do you
just
know?
30% off of the full price until the end of the month, and so we've got a couple more weeks, end of December, before prices go up, and so
Yeah.
yeah, lots of interest already. So you're
That's
starting to
been
feel
crazy.
I love it.
It's crazy, and in the courses too. And I think if next time Drew has some free time, meaning his wife is significant other is off working, then maybe Drew will let me come up there and we can start to film the next pieces.
Yeah,
So
no, I know
for
you've
the
got some
set of
ideas
courses,
for
I
what's
do.
coming next, and so that sounds awesome.
Yeah, I think we're ready to go from the specific piece of body leveraging
Yep.
base combined with the math-based
Right.
principle to the technique series. So I think we're ready to do that, and we'll just have to decide, which, top, bottom, neutral, whatever's going to come first. Because so many people think they know me for the body leveraging and the
Right.
math-based principles, but actually technique is where I excel and know the most. But it's where there's two big things that slow it down. One is I don't want to teach that to somebody until they can actually use their body well. And two,
Right.
coaches they don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear it. They're not open to it.
Right. Well,
So
the
they
stuff
think
they've
that the
been
kid
teaching their
tries.
whole lives has to be
Yeah,
right. It can't-
right. It has to be right. Yeah. But
All right.
Cornell has always been very adaptive to what I've done. We've known each other a long time.
I always know when I see it too. I'm like, oh, I know where they've been.
All right. Well, I guess that's
Yeah.
everything.
You
I could
guys have
talk
a great
forever.
night.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you guys. That was
Thank
awesome.
Catch up
you.
again sometime soon.